Your old address is still making money, just not for you. Every place you've ever lived, every apartment, every dorm, every childhood house, left behind a data shadow, a behavioral fingerprint, a credit ghost. And in 2026, that ghost is more valuable than your resume. You moved on, the system didn't. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your old address is not just a memory. It's an economic asset that platforms, lenders, insurers, advertisers, and AI models are actively monetizing to price you, rank you, predict you, and sometimes quietly disqualify you, and you have no idea. What if I told you that two people earning the same income, with the same credit score, applying for the same opportunity, are being treated completely differently because of where they used to live? Not where they live now, where they used to live. That sounds wrong. Income matters, credit score matters, debt-to-income ratio matters. Address history, it feels irrelevant. But what feels irrelevant in 2026 is often the hidden lever. Let's break the first illusion. You think your address is a location. It isn't. It's a signal. And signals are the currency of algorithmic economies. When you typed your old address into job forms, loan applications, delivery apps, you weren't just filling a blank, you were feeding a model. Modern risk engines don't just score individuals, they score clusters, microgeographies, behavioral ecosystems. They analyze historical default rates, purchasing velocity, subscription churn, crime patterns. Then they compress all of that into a silent probability about you, not because you did something wrong, but because people around that address statistically behaved a certain way. You inherit statistical gravity. Stability used to be virtue. Long-term residence meant reliability, but now, extreme stability can signal stagnation. High mobility can signal volatility. Mid-level mobility in upward trending zones can signal ambition. The algorithm doesn't care about your narrative, it cares about patterns. That's claim 1. Your old address is part of your invisible economic ranking. Claim 2. Your old address may still be selling. Even if you sold the house, even if you moved countries, even if the building was demolished, data brokers don't delete memory when you move out, they update the record. Address histories are layered over purchasing logs, device IDs, ad engagement, household composition guesses, inferred income brackets, predicted future earning potential. In other words, your old address didn't just say where you lived, it trained a model about who you are. And models don't forget easily. Here's claim 3. In 2026, your address history may influence what opportunities you even see, not just what you qualify for, what appears in your feed. Because recommendation engines are increasingly geo-behavioral. Opportunity isn't evenly distributed, it's filtered, and sometimes your old neighborhood is still whispering to the system about you. That means, if you grew up in a low opportunity area but escaped physically, you might still be digitally categorized there. Exactly. This is where it turns lethal, because you believe you upgraded your life, but your data didn't upgrade with you. In the industrial age, your value was tied to land and labor. In the algorithmic age, it's tied to predictive confidence. How confidently can systems predict your behavior? The more predictable you are within a risk-averse cluster, the less upside they offer you. Safety feels comforting, but safety in 2026 can be a wealth ceiling. Now here's the deeper mechanism almost no one talks about. Address history feeds into something called contextual trust. It's your environmental trust inheritance. If a region historically had high dispute rates, refund abuse, payment delays, companies quietly tighten terms for profiles linked to that area, you think you're being treated neutrally. You're not. You're being treated statistically. But here's the flip, almost no one sees. Your address history also contains upward mobility signals. If your trajectory shows movement from lower density economic zones to high growth innovation clusters, that's a pattern of economic ascent. Some models reward that. The question isn't, is my old address hurting me? The real question is, what narrative does my address history tell when viewed as a timeline? Flatline, downward spiral, or ascent? Because in 2026, movement patterns matter as much as income. The minority understands this. They don't overshare recklessly, but they curate signals intentionally. They update records. They audit public data trails. They ensure that their upward movement is reflected across platforms, not because they're paranoid, because they understand leverage. Home ownership was once framed as the ultimate wealth badge, but geographic flexibility can be more valuable than fixed location prestige. If your address history locks you into a stagnating microzone, the status of owning there may quietly cap future optionality. Liquidity of location is becoming a hidden asset class. Your old address affects insurance pricing models, subscription risk tiers, even freelance platform ranking. The majority shrugs. It is what it is. The minority asks, how do I reduce statistical drag? This is the battle. You versus invisible statistical gravity. Let me give you something concrete. AI systems lean heavier on contextual signals like address history for younger professionals and people rebuilding, not because they lack talent, because the system lacks certainty. Uncertainty triggers caution. Caution restricts access. This redefines everything. Step 1. Audit your address trail. Search your name plus old addresses. Step 2. Update primary financial platforms with consistent, upward-aligned information. Step 3. Consider how often you move. Pattern matters more than frequency. Your old address is worth money because it feeds prediction engines. Prediction engines drive capital allocation. If you ignore it, others extract from it. If you manage it, you shift the prediction. Most people fight for higher income. Few fight for better predictive positioning. Better predictive positioning amplifies every future income stream. Because doors open sooner, limits rise faster, opportunities appear earlier in feeds. The majority will call this overthinking. They'll keep optimizing budgets, arguing over interest rates. Meanwhile, invisible models continue ranking them with stale signals. The minority sees the board differently. Your old address is not nostalgia. It's a line of code in a billion-dollar machine. You can remain a passive data fossil, or you can treat your digital footprint like an asset portfolio. Because the goal isn't to hide, it's to upgrade the story the system tells about you. Remember the two identical earners. One had a stable but stagnant geographic history. The other showed progressive relocation aligned with skill expansion. The model predicted higher lifetime value for the second. Better offers followed. Algorithms don't automatically notice your internal growth. They notice pattern shifts, make them visible. If this conversation feels uncomfortable, good. It means you're thinking at system level. Most never will. Few will realize that narrative control is leverage. Channels like this skip the basics. They expose the unseen edges shaping outcomes now. If this just exposed something you've never considered, this channel lives in that territory. If you're done playing blind, subscribe. Now I want you to sit with this. What's the one place you live that might still be defining you digitally? Drop it raw below. The minority speaks, the majority scrolls.